Hello, everybody. My name is Benjamin Bloom. Welcome along to this weekend's preview shows. Game week number 9 that we are up to here. I'm looking a little bit wonky, so let's go like that. Make yourself known if you're in the feed down the side. Please help me out if you support a championship team, and let me know any team news that you know and help me out with the predictions. We're into game week 9, as I said, and it's going to be a 3-game week coming up, so a lot is going to go down and the landscape will have changed significantly by the end of the week. It always does. That looks really untidy, doesn't it? Let's get that out of the way. Baps McGinty straight in on Leeds, and we can start with Leeds, can't we? Because Leeds are top of the league. It's Charlton Athletic versus Leeds, and I will be at this game. My first Leeds game since the start of the season, since they thrashed Bristol City, and 7 games later they are top of the league, 17 points from 8. 4 points from the last 3 is a slowdown, although they have been setting a mighty pace, so a win would obviously put Leeds back on that pace. And as the feed said there, no Pablo Hernandez. I paid to see Pablo and he's not going to be there. But what this does mean, and we had this on Twitter today, is that Helder Costa is going to start. Bielsa has said this, and even though Hernandez is Leeds' best player, is it a blessing in disguise that Costa actually gets in? Because if Costa gets in and plays well, obviously when Hernandez comes back, he'll be back in the team. But will Bielsa then do what some Leeds fans have wanted him to do a few weeks already and take Jack Harrison out and put Costa down that side? So you have Hernandez down one side, Costa down the other. Let's see how Helder Costa gets on. More to the point, let's see how Leeds go without Pablo. Pressure starting to build, as we said, on Bamford as well up top. He needs a goal, and Nketiah on the bench waiting in the background. Otherwise, Leeds fairly well stocked. Douglas back on the bench last week, so left back situation is sorted there. Charlton brutally dropped down to 8th after 2 straight defeats. I think that was 2nd or 3rd before that, weren't they? 14 points from 8, still excellent. Lyle Taylor, sadly, as John mentioned in the feed there, is still in a brace. He ain't going to be back for a while. Berham Kayal is still 2 weeks away. He'll make a difference when he finally gets fit. Interesting point there. Baps says Paolo is a liability in defence. Well, he's the opposite of a liability going forward, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see about that. Anike and Matthews both played under 23s at my team Ipswich and won for Charlton on Monday. Bosley was being careful with Jason Pearce last week, so expect him to come back. That seems like a hint. 2 straight defeats for Charlton. International break came at the wrong time. DE says, we will win, but I wish Bowyer all the well. And perhaps as that his granny could run past Pablo in a defensive position. Good thing he offers so much going forward. I predict Leeds to win a lot on this channel, don't I? I'm at the game. I'm sure there'll be a whole ton of Leeds fans there. Leeds are 100% away from home. That has to end soon. Charlton on a not great run of 2 defeats. Their goal scorer is not there. Sorry to bore everyone. I'm going for a Leeds win again. So predictable, but it's just the way it looks to me, I'm afraid. Let's go on to the next one. Swansea versus Reading. Swansea in 2nd spot. Blue Nose says, when am I going to a Birmingham game? Do you know, I'm not sure. I'll try and get to one soon. I really do promise. I should have something in the works for Blues fans though very soon, I promise. Swansea versus Reading. Swansea 2nd, 17 from 8. 1 point from their last 2. John says, don't bother coming to Blues. I like going there. 1 point from the last two is a slowdown from that brilliant 6-game form before the international break. Bidwell red carded, he won't be around. Kalulu has a way to go apparently. Pedersen is frustrated about not being used. Surridge is getting closer to the first 11. I don't anticipate too much changes. All of that being considered, obviously there'll be a new left back because Bidwell's not around. For Swansea, Reading have really tailed off, haven't they, since the heady days of late August. They are 20th, 7 points from 8 games. That will not do. Miazga came back in the Carabao, so he might long-term come in at centre-half there with Liam Moore. Boye scored, so there's still this business of the 4 forwards and who's the best out and who's Gomez going to play out of Maite, Boye, Puskas and Zhao. I expect if Boye and Maite played in midweek that you're going to get Zhao and Puskas this week. Derek says if Virginia is in goal, it'll be 6-0. Yeah, he dropped a howler, didn't he, in the Carabao. This looks a hard one for Reading, doesn't it? You'd expect Swansea high on the possession, high on the shots at goal, and you would expect them to win. So another boring, predictable prediction from me. I've got to go for a Swansea home win. Matthew says an international break came at the wrong time. I agree with that. It did for Charlton too, didn't it? Bidwell didn't deserve that red. They're not going to appeal, though, I believe. John says Pushkas on the move in January. He's only just arrived. So, hey, maybe that'll answer some of my financial questions I've got about that deal as well. Preston versus Bristol City is game number 3. Please yell at me sometimes when I have the iPad, it's just out of shot here. I scramble too fast and miss one out. Preston third, 16 from 8. How good is that? 2 points per game. Brilliant stuff from Preston. 13 points from the last 5. Preston, outstanding form. That's 4 wins and 1 draw in the last 5. Nugent made his return in the Carabao against Man City. Alex Neil made 6 changes in that one. I wonder whether they'll end up with Nugent up front. He's the most kind of bespoke striker they've got there. Bristol City 7th, 15 from 8. Very consistent since day one. 2 draws in the last 3, but 15 points from the last 7 is excellent form. Nailed on draw, says Baps there. 12 without a win against Preston. One of those weird quirks for Bristol City. Lee Johnson is apparently considering a free agent striker to replace Benik Afobe, who'd obviously come in on loan and bust his knee. We wish him well. But when you see these 3 names get mentioned, Wilfred Bonney, okay, Gary Hooper, there you go, John's in there nice and quickly, Ross McCormack. Let's see who they take if they do take a free transfer from there. I'm sure they'll be able to do something. Preston 0, Bristol 1, says Blue Noser. Callas is already out. Baker went out last week, so short of centre halves might be a 4-4-2 and not the 3 centre halves from Lee Johnson there. Who said in the feed nailed on draw? Preston are very good at home, but Bristol City are also very good away. So there you go. That just about sums it up, doesn't it? Let's go. Preston probably take the lead in this one, won't they? And Bristol City will then, as the game goes on, I suspect will equalise. So let's go for a scoring draw. Preston and Bristol City to draw up at Deepdale. A few good matchups here, like top 7 teams playing against each other. QPR versus West Brom is probably the pick of them. West Brom are in 4th and they are unbeaten. 16 points from 8, 4 wins, 4 draws. Lovely old job for Bilic there. Phillips, Austin, Furlong, all going back to their old club. Hegazi back into the under-23s. He'll be away off the first 11, but should expect to see him sooner rather than later, and he will make a difference when he gets back. Dean Garner, huge influence off the bench, probably down the left, probably play either side though, can't he? Likely starter this week. It's just that choice, that front four, maybe Zahor away from home might start over Austin as well, particularly against the side that moved the ball as well as QPR do. We will see. They went behind another 2 times last week. So that's 8 times in 8 games that West Brom have been behind this season. Really need to sort out the defence in that regard, don't they? QPR I saw last week, and they were very good. I saw them win at Mill. Very impressed. Again, they look a bit open at the back. I guess that's just a cause of the way they play, isn't it? 16 points from 8 is also superb stuff. 4 wins in a row, superb form. Eze and Chair and Manning all catching the eye, aren't they? But the 2 guys up front have both got 5 goals, Hugel and Wells. Very well balanced team here. You would say Warburton's got QPR to where he wants a bit quicker than Bilic has got West Brom yet, but Bilic has better players, doesn't he? Let's go for a draw. Although I suppose West Brom, Bilic, if he's drawing away games, winning home games, that'll do. Yeah, that will take you 92 points and you're in the Premier League. There we go. George, QPR fan, thinks it will be 2-2. I suspect QPR fans probably be happy with that. Matt says 2-1 Albion. Austin to get off the mark. Diangana with the winner. John says Baggies fans getting on their keepers back recently. That would be Mr. Sam Johnston, wouldn't it? Stoke versus Forest. That is tomorrow night, isn't it? Forest in 6th place, 15 from 8 as well. Forest in good form. Same as Bristol City, opening day defeat and then 15 points from the next 7 is fab form. And they've played some hard old games, haven't they, Forest? Lamouchi says his options are low. Bostock and Semedo will not be there. Rafa Mir, quote, looks much better than before, so he'll be back up to Graben. Stoke, 23rd, 2 points from 8, so horrific form for Stoke, as we all know. However, accentuating the positives here, first point in 5 games last time out and a clean sheet. Only Shawcross is an injury problem here. Nick Powell is in contention as well. If Nathan Jones wants to play his diamond midfield, he's got a good guy for the tip of the diamond there. Joe Allen still suspended after that silly red card. I forget who they were playing. It was Bristol City, wasn't it? Where he got sent off with them leading and they ended up losing. Let's talk about this press conference today. Jones not at the press conference, but nothing untoward. I think the chairman said he was too busy, basically. So Paul Hart did it instead. Big link in the local press with Chris Hughton now. We're counting the days, aren't we? It's a 3-game week, I believe, and then 1 more to the international break. He needs a win, but my brain is telling me Forest went to Fulham and won, Forest went to Leeds and drew, and Forest went to Swansea and won. And as illogical as the Championship is, that tells me Forest go to Stoke and win. So nicely settled, aren't they? Dawson and Worrell at the back, Lolly contributing well, Graben this level. It's a good nucleus, isn't it? And Lamouchi's got it working. Let's go for an away win for them trees and Forest to get the victory. More misery for Stoke. Sorry, Stoke. Abel says, good side, Forest. I agree. Borough versus Wednesday. It's a Gary Monk derby, but there's going to be about 17 of those this season, isn't there? Kai says Forest are awful on TV. That's one of those things. Every football fan thinks their team's awful on TV, don't they? Everyone thinks they're cursed. Wednesday, 9th, 13 from 8, but 4 points in 2 under Gary Monk so far. No Bates or Lees for Sheffield Wednesday. Borough 15th, 9 points from 8. They haven't quite got going. Baps says, hasn't seen a good match on TV. Luton Borough, first game of the season. Brilliant. I was there. Loved it. A good 4-game, 8-point run ended last time at Cardiff for Borough. Steve Gibson all geared up for his legal claim on club selling stadiums today. Met with the EFL today. He is lawyering up, so to speak. Johnny Howson set to return after hernia op. Although they've been using him as a right back, hadn't they? So don't know whether he comes back into the team or what position. Woodgate keeps on talking about his principles and the philosophy and how he likes what Norwich did and keeping it going. Monk will be in there for the now, won't he? Going for today, doing what he can to win this game. I think they might win, actually. Ryan says Borough very poor on Saturday, looked a bit leggy. Should we go for a weird away win here? Let's go for this. It seems with Borough that they win the games where they're favourites and lose the games where they're not. It seems to be working out into a mid-table kind of pattern, doesn't it? Let's go for Sheffield Wednesday to get the win and Monk to continue on his decent start here. Blackburn versus Luton. God, I looked at Blackburn's form actually. Blackburn 13 from 8. Blackburn got 13 points in the last 6. That's superb. They've got 4 wins, a little blob in the middle of a draw and a defeat there, but there's 2 back-to-back wins in there, so they're actually in really nice form. Blue Nose says he fancies Luton. Dom Samuel back and available to add to that group. Bradley Dack in good form now. We need a goal from Gallagher, don't we? And that whole thing's working nicely. Defence working well for Blackburn. Luton 21st, 7 from 8. 2 straight defeats now and conceding at a rate of 2 goals per game. They had those back-to-back wins. That's all they've had really. John says Blackburn nailed on. Sadly, I think he might be right. Only 3 teams below Luton, and they've beaten 2 of them. That would be Barnsley and Huddersfield, wouldn't it? Carabao Cup in the midweek. Obviously, James Justin comes back for Leicester, makes his debut and scores against Luton. If this was at Kenilworth Road, I would give Luton a chance, but it's a Blackburn, and Rovers are going to be tight. They will make chances. Luton have kept with their fast transition style, narrow style, a lot of work on the fullbacks. I'm sure Mowbray's one of these managers that really sets up and looks at the other team. I think Blackburn are going to win. I think Blackburn's good form continues, and that would be 16 points from 7 if they do. That people would start actually looking at Rovers now as a second quartile team now rather than bottom half. DE says Luton are too open. Sadly, DE, I think you might be right, but I don't want them to stop being open because that will completely blunt all the things that's good about Luton. Derby versus Birmingham. Blues are 11th, 13 from 8. 3 wins, 3 defeats from the last 6, says they're very inconsistent. McEachran, successful trial. There may be developments there. If they can do the right deal, you should definitely bring in McEachran. He's definitely a player that could add something into a squad there. Grounds, he's back from a long-term injury, played in the under-23, so he'll be added to the squad sooner or later. Derby, 18th, 8 points from 8. I'm not going to talk about what's happened today. John says McEachran signs tomorrow. Okay, you heard it here first on the feed. Let me know what you think of that signing, John. I think that's a good one. I'll do a separate video on Mr. Keogh, Mr. Lawrence, and Mr. Bennett because I'll go on for 10 minutes if I do. Needless to say, Derby are without a captain now for the rest of the season. No wins in 7, only 1 defeat in 4. Draw heavy, I would expect. Bielik, does he come straight back into centre half? I think Curtis Davis might even get a look in after all this, mightn't he? Maybe Bielik and Clark. Don't know. It's all that Koku's needs. JMW Deceiver says Huddleston has been made captain for the time being. Interesting. Might just be the right thing for Keogh to go away now for a while and come back in August. Let's see. Derby fans are going to be a little bit on edge, I think, after these antics. If it was at Birmingham, I'd be backing Birmingham strongly here. Let's go for another not needed draw. John says Djukovic header 1-0. I'm sure all you Blue Noses will take that. Although Birmingham don't draw, do they? I'm going to be wrong about something. I'm normally wrong about most things in the predictions on here. Fulham versus Wigan. That is also tomorrow night, along with the Forest Stoke game. Fulham 12th, not good enough. 12 points from 8. 3 points from the last 4 games for Fulham. Really not good. Surely Bobby Reid drops out now and we get Harry Arter back in, unless he drops Harrison Reid out. Someone called Reid is going to drop out of that midfield, aren't they? I'd like to see Harrison Reid, Harry Arter and Tom Kearney as that midfield 3. Rest of the team kind of picks itself for Fulham, doesn't it? Wigan 19th, 8 points from 8. First win in 7 last time. 5 points from 3 for Wigan. That is decent. They were just few and far between the wins last season, weren't they? Every 5 or 6 games. So Roberts, Windass, Pilkington, all back in training, all unlikely to play. There is no way that Wigan are going to concede less than 2 goals in this game, is there? So I can just see the Fulham front three working this one, getting back to winning ways. Let's say this one is a Fulham home win. Bap says, can't fathom Fulham scary front, comedic defence. Wigan poor away, says DE. Heavy defeat. Let's see. Hull, excuse me, versus Cardiff. Cardiff in 13th, 12 points from 8. But something seems to be stirring. 5 unbeaten, 9 points from those 5. Slowly stirring into life. The Warnock monster is waking up, isn't it? Although Isaac Vassell is out for 2 months, he's done his thigh. But Marlon Pack and Sol Bamba full training this week. Surely a sub-appearance by at least one of them by the end of the 3-game week will happen. They're important players. They're Hull 14th, 9 from 8. First win in 6 last time, so you'd expect Lopez to stay in over Honeyman and McCann likely to go unchanged. Great result for Hull last time out. Beat Luton 3-0, didn't they? I think Cardiff are going to... Well, they'll definitely have a plan for Bowen and Grzycki, won't they? And they're very likely to score from a set play. Cardiff, that is. I think Hull are going to score, though, aren't they? Derek says 1-1. I wouldn't disagree with that, and I think I don't know whether Cardiff are 2 home games in a 3-game week after that, but I'm sure if they are, Warnock will be targeting those. Let's go for a draw in this one. I'll sit on the fence. The guy's saying 1-1 in the feed. I'll kind of go along with that. DE says Hull have 2 of the best wingers in the league. Shame about the rest of the team. Yeah, that's kind of about the size of it, isn't it? Huddersfield versus Millwall. Millwall 16th, 9 points from 8, although they got 7 of those in 1 week, didn't they? No wins, only 2 points from the last 5. Neil Harris is under pressure here. I was at Millwall last week, and a few people are kind of done with it. So interesting, considering Harris as a all-time top scorer there and a club hero. And some Millwall fans have got this pegged as the last straw already. Obviously, Huddersfield, we'll speak about them in just a second. I think Harris needs to go back to his principles and forget what the opponents are doing and just go for them like he did in the past to great success. Huddersfield 24th, bottom of the league, 1 point from 8. Horrific, isn't it? 6 defeats on the trot. Danny Cowley says they have forgotten how to win. I'm trying to get my head round how this Huddersfield form affects this game and whether it actually helps or hinders Millwall, because Millwall will actually probably be favourites. I don't know. I suspect that a draw would not help either team. Let's go for it. Sorry, Millwall fans. Let's go for Huddersfield to break the duck. Let's go for a Huddersfield win and the Millwall fans to not be happy. No result would surprise me here. Charlie's gone for 2-0 Millwall, would not surprise me, but let's go for a strange home win. We will see. There's still some good players there, but I've just thought Millwall are definitely going to score from a corner, aren't they? Carlin Grant, he's playing well, isn't he? There we go. Barnsley versus Brentford is our last game. Brentford 17th, 8 points from 8. 3 defeats in 5. Only 5 goals in 8. Come on, Brentford. What are you doing? Surely they're going to create a load of chances, however, against Barnsley, who are 22nd, and a similar tale of woe. Only 5 points from 8. 4 defeats in 5, so 1 more, and only 4 goals in 8. So I think this is the one where Brentford go there, have 15 shots on goal and get the win here. I think they'll create enough chances to not be blunt here. And as John says in the feed there, Barnsley will still play open, they'll still go for it. And I think Brentford will have the ball for a lot of the game. Let's have a little looky on YouTube. I put the post up earlier for questions. Get some questions in the feed in a minute and we'll answer them as well. Animation Station says, how will Hull's wide players get on against a Warnock team? In the same way everyone gets on against a Warnock team. Very bitty and scrappy, and they'll stop any kind of flow. There'll probably be quite a low block and a gap between the deep midfield and the front midfield. And I'd imagine the fullbacks will swarm all over them, but the whole wide players are very, very good, so they should be fine. Super Lee says, did I get a bin? No, I didn't get a bin yet because, get this, my paycheck was rejected at the bank because it said Ben and not Benjamin. Whatever Jobsworth did that is on my shit list for the week, so I need to go to the bank in Flitwick or something tomorrow and pay my check in, and then I can buy my missus a really expensive bin, which she wants, and I want, to be fair as well. In the YouTube post, David C says QPR game will be a good indicator on how good or how lucky they've been. It will, but they were good last week against Millwall. Not like that, looked like a well-practiced team, but yes, David is right. West Brom is a different challenge. Anyone got any questions? Get them in the feed. I will be, here we go. When am I planning releasing Keo? I'll film it straight after this. John says, expensive bin, what's the world coming to? I'm fed up of my rubbish bin, which was like 30 quid anyway. Rubbish, if you excuse the pun. It's a terrible bin. The bin bags keep getting caught every time and it stinks as well. I want one of those ones with like a sensor thing that opens. Anyway, enough bin chat. Yeah, so we'll talk about the Derby players in a minute. Ben, change that water. That does need to change, doesn't it? Yeah, we will change the water as well. Yeah, we'll change the bin, we'll change the water. Any more home stuff, let me know. Any more football questions as well, we can answer those. Yeah, I've got loads of content to go up. I should be speaking to a Birmingham journalist tomorrow on Skype about Blues. I'll put a shout out because I know we've got a few Blue Noses in here for questions. Derek says, do I think Swansea could get automatic promotion? Yeah, they could. It would be a surprise if they did, but hey, Norwich and Sheffield United was the top two, and that was a big surprise last year. I think Leeds at the moment, it's only September, Leeds at the moment are the only team that are convincing, and hey, they're dropping points at home, and there's small little chinks in there. So I think it's open, and someone like Swansea could do it. Do I rate Bamford, says Dia. Yeah, I rate Bamford. I'm just not sure in a 4-1-4-1 like Bielsa plays, whether that's best suited, and whether he might, like a 4-3-3 with people a bit closer to him, or another striker up close to him might help, because he's just got all that pressure heaped on him. But I do rate him as a player. I know he mixes opinions. I don't know whether he could do it in the Premier League, but I think he'll be fine in the Championship. But yeah, we said at the start of the season, it's about tight games and low percentage chance, isn't it? Bielsa, Bap says, much admittedly tried to manage the end of the derby match. Players looked done by the end. They're knackered already. This Bielsa burnout myth must not be a myth after all. The pressing figures never went down all of last season, did they? Right, so game week 9, looking forward to it. I'll be at Charlton versus Leeds on Saturday. Check out the review for that after the game. Should be about 5:30 or something. That is up. It's a 3-game week next week, which is a nightmare to keep up the content. So the live stream may well be on Sunday for the review, and then we'll do the preview live stream for the midweek games on the Monday. So we'll try and keep up. That is a vague plan at the moment, and then we do the review of that on the Thursday, and everything gets kind of bunched up. But we'll have a little rest after it next week. So try and keep up next week. I'll post out when all the content is going up. As usual, follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Subscribe, ring the bell, notifications, support me on Patreon. John, am I at Blues versus Borough next Friday? Do you know, I probably should if I haven't seen Blues yet, haven't I? Bear with me on that, John. We'll have to meet up if I do, but not 100% on that yet. Where am I on the Saturday? Millwall Leeds. God, that could get nasty if Leeds go 2-0 up in that one, couldn't it? Anyway, enough of my bins, fish water, etc., etc. I will see you all. Hopefully tomorrow. I'll get the Birmingham thing done if that all comes through. I've got match experience from MK last night. I've got loads of stuff to do, but I have some time tomorrow to do it. So thank you everybody for joining in the feed. Muchly appreciated as always. I'll try and speak about the Derby guys as I hang up this call, and I will see you all very soon. So I'll say thank you for watching. Over and out.